afternoon, everyone, or morning or evening, on depending on which longitudinal location you are across the globe. Queen City Otaku here again, and I'm back to talk about Kaze, obviously. That's my main show. We're talking about Run with the Wind, Kaze Tsuyo, or Kaze Tsuyoku Fuiteiru, whatever you want to call it. This is a really psychological episode, and what I mean by that is it's kind of talking about Kakeru's past and why he really doubts himself. I'm starting to be under the impression that he is thinking he only sees himself good for running, and that's it, but it's never good to feel that way. Let's kind of jump right into it. This episode really starts out with a past, like a flashback. It's a 5K race for high school track meet that he was at, and you get introduced to that red-haired guy again. His name is Sakaki. I think that's how you pronounce it. But literally, this is what happens. The race, the scene itself with the race is really short. He actually wins the race, and he wins it by a long shot too. Like, no, not by a long shot. He wins it by a long margin. There's a lot of people in the race, and he's straight up ahead of everybody. His time finished at 13 minutes and 54 seconds. Now, for high school, that's unbelievable. In high school, it's actually really great to be under 14:30, but he was just under 14 minutes. So obviously, Kakeru is. They've already established him to be kind of a prodigy. Sakaki is kind of egging him on, antagonizing him a little bit, and then once the race is over, coach is yelling at them because everybody did poorly except for Kakeru. And I kind of relate to this because during high school, that's how it was. I was a little bit far ahead of everybody. We had a generally pretty good team, but we did have these days where it went pretty bad, and I would have these days where sometimes I would be the only one who really finished well in some of these distance races. 5Ks mostly, that was cross country. And then, so yeah, we learn more about Sakaki and where he's from. He's obviously a former teammate, as we found out now recently. Then it kind of, after the opening theme and everything like that, Kakeru is having some flashbacks again, where we actually see him doing two things that are pretty sinful. And there's a ghost of him in the background, either a ghost or like the angel and demon on the shoulder kind of thing. And this guy's looking at Kakeru as he's literally about to shoplift a convenience store. He's looking over the counter, seeing if the clerk is watching as he tries to steal like a cup ramen or something. And there's also this scene where he's in a casino playing pachinko. Pachinko's kind of like a really popular game in Japan. It's kind of akin to blackjack or like slot machines, and maybe he might have a gambling addiction. So we learn a little bit how Kakeru has a little bit of issues in the past that maybe he looks back upon. Either he's regretful or he's tempted to do these things again. And then goes on to the next day. It actually turns out that in this scene, the next day after this happened, it was actually him daydreaming. Kakeru was daydreaming while he's walking with Prince. Prince was thinking about bringing Kakeru onto his manga club. So they start talking to him, trying to get him to get into manga, and I would assume maybe Kakeru is not the otaku type because he's kind of like just sitting there as Prince and his buds are all like geeking out, as we all do, kind of like how I am over this show. And for some reason, Yuki and Musa are in the same cafeteria as these guys, and they kind of overhear them. And after it kind of cuts away while Kakeru and Prince walk out, Yuki and Musa start talking again about how they're going to plan out how they can avoid running this race and how they can maybe sabotage Haiji and his campaign or something like that. There's still those two. Musa and Yuki are probably one of the most anti-running of the group. They seem to be the ones who are really against Haiji's idea of running this race. So Kakeru actually runs away from the group as they walk out of the mess hall, and he runs away, literally. He runs away, and he's starting to hallucinate. He's running down a pedestrian walkway or alleyway or something like that, and he starts to hallucinate where there's like the store clerk from the beginning episode chasing after him. Then he also hallucinates with Haiji on his bike, where Haiji is like, "Do you like running?" And then it's that famous face where he has that creepy smile on, and he's just riding his bike saying that. Store clerk. He starts hallucinating with the coach from his high school team, yelling in the background, cheering for him as he's running and hallucinating. And then all of a sudden, and this is an old trope, obviously, all of a sudden, Hana runs out of one of the corners of the alleyway, and Kekeru smacks her in the face, full speed, and knocks her over. And then it kind of cuts to another scene where, Hana's like being like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'm just glad you didn't get hurt because you're a special athlete," and something like that. And meanwhile, Kekeru was feeling really bad because he literally knocked her off of her feet, and she's having to clean up her wound, and she's talking to him about how he shouldn't feel bad about how he isn't as fast as he used to be. He should be more proud of himself for being a person rather than just being a machine that runs. And then Haiji catches up with them and reinforces that on the way home, because Kekeru is telling Haiji about how he's feeling like, am I actually only good for running, or do I have other things that make people around me smile and be happy? And Haiji will reinforce him by saying that he is indeed somebody who's more than just a machine that runs, but he is also somebody that should take that talent of running and really bring it home and use that talent. Don't waste it. So, and then the next day comes along. This is like halfway through the episode where they start their next morning run, and I thought this was really funny because Prince, honestly, one of my favorite characters. Prince is literally being lifted up by his shirt by Haiji. He's literally being lifted up like that, and you can see on Prince's shirt, it says, I forgot what the Kana characters were, but it said feeble or fragile or something like that. And I think that's going to be like the trend in this show, is that Prince is going to be wearing these funny shirts because he's a small little child who's not very fast at doing anything. They're talking about their next run, how Hana's going to be waiting down by the Tanagawa River, the riverbanks where the park is that they usually meet, and they finish up their run. And you could see while he's talking, you see Hana in the background, just kind of stretching her way as if she's about to fuse with another Saiyan or something like that. And that was kind of cute. And then they start their run, and it's just kind of interesting because, as always, Kekeru just blasts off. He doesn't wait for everybody. Then when he gets there, he meets up with Hana. Hana is telling about how he ran just over 15 minutes, which for a practice run, that's pretty damn good. I think it was under 16 minutes or 15 low or something like that. And as he was talking to her, Sakaki shows up again. Again, this is redheaded guy. And he's starting to be an antagonizer again. He's kind of a douchebag. This guy is actually the kid who was in that flashback from the beginning of the episode where they're doing that 5K. And it's interesting that Sakaki says this because it kind of like induces fear in Hana or somebody else who's standing nearby. Sakaki says, "Are you going to hit me again?" And I thought that was interesting because I bet there was probably a point during high school when Kekeru got really mad at Sakaki, which I can understand. Sakaki does have a pretty punchable face because he's acting like a little bit of a scumbag. And Hana's kind of like, "Oh, punch me again?" or something like that. So yeah, all the other guys show up to the park. Hana's cheering them on, and Sakaki is standing there like, what are these plebs? And then kind of really shows off his character and what he's all about. And again, Kekeru is starting to really he's seething with anger. He's really starting to become tempted to hit him again, because he's starting to clench his fist like the Arthur meme. And like his fist is about ready to charge up. And I think he was about to move his arm, but then I think Haiji comes up and he starts to hold him back. But this is when things start to rise up, like the anger levels and the stress between these two characters start to rise, because now, as Prince comes in, very last guy to come in, very slow, chasing after the butterfly as always, as he comes in, Sakaki really becomes embarrassed. Like he is looking at this as a mockery of track and field or running in general. So he starts to rant, and then Haiji and Kekeru are talking to Sakaki, and Haiji told Sakaki straight up, "Yeah, we're practicing because we're trying to qualify for the Hakone Ekiden." And that's when Sakaki is just like, "What the are you kidding me? Are you making a mockery of track and field? Is he serious right now, Kekeru? Is he actually serious when he says you guys are doing the Hakone?" And that's when he starts laughing, and he's like, all these plebs are about to run a 10 by 20 kilometer relay race from Tokyo to the Hakone mountain range. And that's when Prince, who again, Prince is one of the worst runners, he's one of the slowest on the team. Prince has a really great moment where he's kind of inspired by one of the shonen mangas that he read. And again, Haiji is kind of the person who reminded him of these moral values that you learn in these shonen stories. Prince kind of rises up and stands up for his friends and reinforces his moral values as to why he's running with these guys and why he is running. Prince, like the boss he is, basically says, like, screw you to Sakaki, because he doesn't like the fact that Sakaki's looking down upon these guys. Even though they might be slow, a majority of them might be slow at least, and especially Prince. Prince knows that's BS, what he's doing. He's just being a douchebag. He's really the scumbag Steve of this anime so far. And right when he gets to, like, the pinnacle of his righteous speech, he kind of collapses, like, ugh, because, you know, he's still working on his lung power and his leg power, so as Sakaki is kind of like, oh, screw this, I'm walking off, Kakeru yells out to Sakaki, he's like, wait, Sakaki, we'll meet again. And then all the other guys are like, what? That's lame. You should have told him, like, oh, this is war, or something like that. But in a way, when Kakeru said that basically was Kakeru's way of saying to Sakaki, this is war. We will meet again. Which means maybe his college team and Kansei Yu is going to meet at the next college track meet, and who knows? But here's the thing, too. They must get qualified first. Which reminds me, next episode is called The Ones Not Chosen, so there's a little hint at that. So anyway, the guys leave for breakfast, and as they walk off, you can kind of see all the guys, like, facing towards the light or the road or something like that, and then one of the subs says, this is the beginning of our brand new adventure, and I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, once the ending ended, rolled through, the credits, the preview for the next episode said, The Ones Not Chosen, so I'm guessing what might be happening with this is that maybe there's either going to be a flashback from maybe when Kakeru was in high school, maybe he didn't qualify for a race or something like that, or, more importantly and more realistically, what's going to happen is the Kansei Yu guys are going to try to qualify for a certain track meet, and they get denied completely because their times are too slow. I think that'd be pretty cool if they got into that, because rejection is the path to success. Failure is the path to success, and that's what this whole thing's going to touch on in just a little bit. So again, really, really cool episode. Really got into some psychological drama behind Kakeru and Sakaki, and maybe some point we'll see Haiji's psychological background and what made him to be so positive or something like that. I don't know, but I'm really excited. I thought it was a pretty cool episode. I really like breaking down each one. Takes me an hour to watch the 23-minute episode just because I'm screenshotting, I'm taking notes. That's why I'm looking over this way, because of my OneDrive Word document has everything that I've taken down during that episode. So it's really cool to kind of break these down and talk about it and kind of see how I compared to some of these times that I see and everything like that. It's pretty fun. As much as I'm watching all the other shows that I've been watching recently. Caught up on Goblin Slayer, almost caught up on Gridman, and I have 10 other shows that I'm watching, and I'm in the middle of binge watching another at the time of this video dropping. Another's a pretty cool mystery horror thriller, and I'm probably going to finish that up today before the next work week starts or something like that, so pretty excited. Always watching my side shows as I watch 10 simulcasts all at once, so you can never watch too much anime, especially when you have the free time that you do. I could game more if I wanted to, but I think I'll just watch a little bit more anime, maybe other than playing Super Monkey Ball for 5 hours straight and all that crazy stuff. Anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful afternoon and a great weekend, and I hope that all of you guys enjoy the rest of this video and Kaze. Again, you can follow me on Twitter at RealCLTOtaku. Queen City Otaku is the name of the YouTube channel. Again, if you like this video, like and subscribe. And I hope to see you guys soon and have some great discussions with all of you. Have a great day.